I think the biggest thing is trying to get the players as much rest as possible, but also to be productive in the days that we have to prepare, because this is a big stretch for us, just like every game. So I think just being smart, giving them some time off, a couple of days off, but then also working and stuff also to get better at the things we need to, taking care of some defensive things, issues that I feel like that we have to correct, and just being able to continue to keep building on our confidence. I think that's the biggest thing.
This end of January, beginning of February period, is this kind of where you feel like you want to start hitting a stride?
Yes, we need to. As long as I've been coaching, or when you hear all the great coaches talk, and you just talk to different mentors and people, when you get to the end of January and February is when you should be playing your best basketball. And that's one of the focuses that we've been trying to do as a staff, is just to continue to keep growing. And so you have to point out and do some corrections on the things that you don't do so well in, and then come back and make sure that you are still really focusing still on what WKU does and what we do, and how good we can be when we do things right.
Your rematch with North Texas on Thursday. Pretty tough game here.
Yep.
Just what do you remember about that first game here at Diddle?
Oh, well, I tell you what, they're very talented. They got kids that can score. Hyder is playing very well right now, and they got kids that can shoot it. They can put it on the floor. And we didn't guard as well as we should have guarded in that game. And we just got to get better defensively, and we got to sit down and do the things that we need to do in certain situations and certain times. And thank goodness that Alexis scored 40 in that game when I go back and look at the film, because there's things that we had to, do and correct for us to be able to go on the road and get a win.
Speaking of Alexis' 40-day game, what do you expect them to do differently than Travis Lord?
I think they'll have an opportunity to probably switch up and maybe do some different things on her. But as a coach, sometimes it's just like I just talked about. I think right now you're in the midst of your season, and you try to make sure that you're doing the things that you can for your team to be successful. You always have to look at what an opponent does to you and how you're going to guard a player the next time. That's the beauty of playing someone twice. But I think what he's probably doing is focusing on the things that, it was a 2-point game. He's telling them that, and where they were, and the opportunity for them to be in a situation where they can take care of their home court, like we talk about taking care of our home court.
Plenty of room for movement, probably the top 8 teams in this conference. I'm sure it's what you expected, but from afar, kind of talk about what those probably 7 or 8 top teams have been able to do, and how tough 1-8 is.
And like you said, I remember sitting here and we talked about the parity and how it was going to be a little different. That we had all the new coaches in the league, and I just really feel like every day, day in and day out, you got to be prepared, and you can't look at the name on someone's jersey or what's across their chest. You got to be ready to play, and I think that is really shown in how the games are going, and just the competitive nature of everyone competing, and not doing that, not looking at, what's the name on the jersey or who that school is, but to try to get better as a whole for an individual school or for their group.
Talk about the all-diddle ceremony you'll have on Saturday, honoring some big names in this program.
Yeah, I just left the office, and I was talking to Sheree, and I was just telling her how amazing it is to be honored in that group. When you look at Clement Haskins and Cammie Thomas and just all those people, it's amazing. I look at the list, and Kim Pelkey, I played with Pelkey, I played with Clement, and it's just a phenomenal opportunity, and it just says a lot for Lady Toppers basketball and the history and everything about it. So it's a big deal, and I'm really excited about it, to have the opportunity to see, hopefully, that a lot of those players will get to be here, and just to get to see them and be a part of it. So it's a special, special day.
You mentioned it before, but how important is it for you to bring those names and bring those as close to the current players as you can?
Oh, it's huge. It's really huge. Just for, I think the biggest thing we always talk about, the program and the history and the things that the program has done. But I think it also just lets them know a little bit about myself too as a coach, and where my passion comes from, and my pride, and when my face kind of lights up, I think, when I talk about those players and I talk about the things that's happened And I think that helps them a lot to, when we had the throwbacks, I know I could sense the difference in my team and shoot around, and just the day before when we were all talking about it, and because they got a chance to, we talked about, some of those players and all the things that they've done, and I think that's the beauty of it, and I think that's the most awesome opportunity that we have, not only as a coaching staff, but as players, to be able to go back and to embrace those players and let them know how much it means to this program, what they've done.
You talk about the role that Sheree's played this year. She's thrust into a bigger role than she expected to be in, but talk about what, I guess, the duty she's had since she moved up onto the coaching staff and what she's been able to do.
Well, I give a lot of credit to not only Sheree, but, to Margaret and Greg, Coach Collins and Coach Richards, and just the whole staff. I mean, realistically, we've been down a man or person the whole, season. Sheree has really taken the opportunity to do basically whatever we've asked her to do. And, it is kind of hard to be thrown in the fire, because we've all been coaching and doing this a long time. But what I talk to her about is just being her natural self. And she has an unbelievable personality. The kids really gravitate to her. They like her. And just being able to use that. And the greatest thing about being an unbelievable player and now being one of the top players to ever play here in this program, and that they'll know that, and her being honored, and they see on the wall every day, they have opportunity to ask her questions and talk to her a lot about, because Sheree played her majority of her career. I mean, and so they can talk to her about like how she made it through and see like, different scenarios and ask her questions, and that's what I talk to her a lot about. She's really good at that, and talking with the players and just being that positive reinforcement around the program.